Okay, only 10 more presents to wrap. You're almost at the finish line. But first... There, the last one. Enjoy a Coca-Cola for a pause that refreshes.
Today, I'm recapping my recent Disney World trip. That's coming up on this episode 487 of WDW Prep to Go. Hello and welcome to WDW Prep to Go, where we talk strategy and ideas for people planning their Disney World trips. I'm your host, Shannon Albert from WDWPrepSchool.com. And today I want to recap and share the tips that I learned on my recent trip where we went to do party things, but also other new things that aren't necessarily holiday party related. So I want to share those tips with you. As always, a reminder to follow on social media, which does include YouTube because YouTube videos are going up. I am a huge fan of both podcasts and YouTube, so I always appreciate when people have that content out there, and I'm just constantly sharing tips about everything 2 to 3 times a week. So if you would like, please go and watch it. I'm enjoying the process. It kind of reminds me of the early days of the podcast and just figuring out the formatting and the editing and the topics and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of fun to do that. But let's get into my trip, which was very focused on the parties. We always come for the very first Christmas party, and now that also includes the first Jollywood Nights. And then, of course, we fit in anything else that happens to be new during our trip as well, which this time included some things at Animal Kingdom as well as a couple other things. So I'm going to get through that. In general, this trip had mostly fantastic weather, like the parties especially were the best we've ever had probably. It makes me really happy for the people that are at the parties with us because I'm like, they get to have the best experience. Whereas in some years we've been completely rained out and that kind of stuff. And that's not nearly as fun because you just don't get to do as much, obviously. And after the 2 party nights, we ended up having some not so perfect weather, but it wasn't terrible, like some sprinkles at Epcot and then some chillier weather on our Animal Kingdom day. I know that there's going to be very cold weather right after we leave, but in general, I think you need to check the forecast before traveling anytime this time of year, like November through March, because you never know. Like it could be 90 degrees, it could be 30 degrees, and you need to be prepared. We saw people out in the cold temps that were not prepared. Like they had only brought t-shirts and shorts and they were freezing. But a lot of us had at least packed a hoodie, so we were prepared for the temperatures to drop. And that was very, very helpful. So always check the weather because it's kind of up and down and you just never know. So aside from the weather, we also did observe this trip that many holiday things are not going up until November 14th. We found this extremely frustrating because we come this time of year every single year around the November 7th, 8th time frame because that's when the first Christmas party is at Magic Kingdom. And then we also do all the parks, and we know Epcot's not going to have holiday stuff because they never do until after Thanksgiving, but we will at least do the 3 parks that have decor plus Disney Springs. But this year there's a delay in some stuff at Hollywood Studios, some stuff at Animal Kingdom, as well as Disney Springs. And I'm like, if they don't change this, we're just probably not going to see those things for a while. And I found that very frustrating because I just don't understand it. Like, why announce that the holidays are officially underway and not start them like they always have? I don't get it. But that was something that we experienced this trip, and one of the only disappointments, I would say. So I want to kind of talk through this trip in categories so that I can share some information. Let's start with resort related information, starting with the Hyatt Regency MCO. As I have said before, this is now a routine for us that we fly in very late and we stay at the MCO Hyatt. I didn't land till 2 a.m. So it was nice to go to baggage claim, get my bag, and be able to be in bed within just a few minutes. I will be back at the MCO Hyatt in a few weeks when I have a cruise out of Port Canaveral. Again, fly in late be able to go to the room, and then the next morning take a car service to Port Canaveral. It's also something that I would consider doing if I got off a ship, like a cruise ship, and then the flight wasn't until the afternoon and there was just all these open hours. I know a lot of people here would probably go to a park or go to Disney Springs, but if you don't want to do that, you could get a day pass at the MCO Hyatt. So we love it. It's very convenient. Pop Century is where we stayed this trip, and the room that we were in was 4214 in the 60 section. It's a preferred room, but it's not preferred pool view, which is perfect. This is exactly what I like because it's centrally located, but it's not a pool view. Pool view is very noisy, and that is not my vibe. I want quiet. I also requested not to be on the ground floor. Ground floor is where it's most noisy because you have the more foot traffic than you do on the upper levels. And so I found it generally really quiet and peaceful. And we were 2 doors down from a staircase and then as soon as we got to the bottom of the stairs, it was a short walk to the main building, the bus stop and all that, but also not a bad walk to the Skyliner. I would 100% request this next time that we stay in a preferred room. That is the perfect category for us. The food court worked well for us, including the mobile order pickup system, which is relatively new in the last 6 months in that they have these kind of cubby holes. And when your mobile order is ready, they will put it in one of those spots and say your order is in spot number 7, 11, 24, whatever it is. And you can go and grab your bag from there. I really like that. We stayed at Art of Animation recently, and the mobile order is more chaotic with people just kind of gathered around one tiny space in the food court. And I hope that they will take this Pop Century method and duplicate it or replicate it at the other values because it just worked so much better. I really like that. There is new decor at Pop Century that is very well done, and the updates are really great. There's still some work being done in the lobby, but we're hopeful that it's going to look great too because all the other stuff, including the food court and just throughout the main building, has been done really well. There is a new coffee bar that is like adjacent to the mobile order pickup, and that's open from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. and you can get obviously coffee, but as well as pastries and things like that. And something that we were able to use at Pop Century is the airport luggage transfer program. If you're not familiar, I will link to our whole article about this in the show notes. But the basic gist is it's a little bit like the old resort airline check-in, which is where you can check your bags at the resort, and then it replaces the need to do it at the airport. So we don't have to go to the airport and check our bag and get our boarding pass. We can do it at the hotel. And because we had early flights, we had to do it the night before, but that's also a strong motivator for us to use this program because it means we don't have to get up or leave for the airport quite so early. So in my case, I had a 6 a.m. flight, and if you have to go to the desk and do all that, then that's just, you have to allow time for it. So I don't want to leave it, 3 or 4 a.m. if I don't have to. And so being able to do it at the resort, just very convenient. I can go right through to my TSA pre-check line at security and not worry about, obviously you have to have everything in your, everything that you need has to be on you when you give somebody your bag like that. The need to check it in the night before is specific to us because we have very early flights. If your flights aren't so early, you can check it same day. So if you have an afternoon flight, you could check it in the morning, same day. You don't have to do it the night before, but all the information can be in the show notes at the link that I include. So anyway, we always like Pop Century. It's our favorite value resort. Skyliner worked well for Epcot and Hollywood Studios. If you're at an event like Jollywood Nights that goes too late, the Skyliner isn't running to get back to the resort, but they will provide a bus option. In our case, we took an Uber back. Outside of Pop Century, some other sort of resort-related things. We went to the new Perch Lounge, which is in the lobby of the Grand Floridian. It just opened during our trip. It's a brand new birdcage-looking bar that's in the lobby, and even though the bar itself has very few seats, I want to say maybe 15 to 20 seats. You can sit anywhere in the lobby and order from their menu and just have a drink. It's a pretty limited menu with a couple of cocktails, a few wines, a few beers, some mocktails, that sort of thing. But the Grand Floridian lobby is just a lovely place to hang out. And so I just love that we were, I ordered a rosé. We sat around and chatted. It's beautiful. However, there was no decor up for the holidays at all. Not a wreath, not a garland, nothing. So it's very different. So kind of going back to what I said earlier about things starting later in the parks, it's also later at the resorts. And I know that they don't guarantee that things are going to be up, but Grand Floridian usually is really nice. And there wasn't one thing up. Speaking of not one thing up, we also went to Steakhouse 71 Lounge at the Contemporary, which also had not one thing up. And we had a great time at the lounge. It's a great adult area where you can get some light bites and drinks as well. We got the loaded mac and cheese and the onion rings, a perfect little snacky dinner or late lunch for us. And you don't have to have, a reservation or anything like that. We really loved it there. They also have some mocktails and other things as well. If you want to look at lounges that are available throughout Disney World, you can search lounge in My Disney Experience, because a lot of the moderates and deluxes have them. And I think it's just great to have adult kind of spaces with a limited menu, but delicious items and drinks, and no reservations required. So that's kind of it on the resort side. Let's talk about Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. So in general, from year to year, this party doesn't change much. We used to go, if you recall, to the first two Christmas parties. That way we could make sure we got everything, but we no longer go to two because we quite easily get everything that we need at one. And this year was no different. We did line up around 2:45 to 3 o'clock. That early lineup is not necessary if you do not want to meet Jack and Sally. However, we did want to meet Jack and Sally. They started letting us go to the tap styles around 3:45 and sort of held us between the tap styles and the train station to actually go in the park. They held us there until a little closer to 4. And then we were able to go and meet Jack and Sally immediately, where they started meeting right at 4 o'clock. The line moved quickly. We were out by 4:30. I think that we would have been out even earlier than 4:30, but we had some people in front of us that were taking forever to do their meet and greet. We tend to be very quick, like 30 seconds quick, so we're not contributing to that, but some people do. And but still, we were out by 4:30, which gave us plenty of time to do everything else. They are using multiple rooms for this meet and greet, and that's great because they can take a long time. And so the old days of 4-hour waits to meet Jack and Sally seem to be over, which is great because who wants to waste their party time on a line? The best way I think to start the Christmas party is the Main Street Bypass Trail. And if you are not familiar, there is a bypass walking path that goes behind Main Street, and they open this when it's busy, or in the case of parties, because party guests will have access to it while the daytime guests don't. So we were there at 4 o'clock. You're allowed to go in, as early as 4 o'clock, but the day guests are still there. However, there's party exclusive things the day guests can't do. And one of them is to go down this bypass trail. And the way you do that is just at the entrance. You go down the trail. They have a vehicle that's parked there that says with an arrow that points that way. So it's right by Tony's Town Square restaurant, and it's very easy when you're at the front of the park. So you go down there, and that's the best way to kick it off because they have a DJ, they have stilt walkers, they have gingerbread men with the PhotoPass photographer so you can pose with them. You get your free party ornament and a snack. So it's just a fun way to kick it off. And even if you're not entering at the front like we did, I do suggest that you make your way there to at least participate in it. Speaking of, if you happen to already be in the park for the day, you can still get your wristband that in the park without having to go out the front and get it the way that we did. You can go to Tortuga Tavern at Adventureland. You can go to PhilharMagic at Fantasyland, and you can go near Buzz Lightyear in Tomorrowland and get your wristband there. The party this year Magic Kingdom in general has more decorations beyond just Main Street. It used to frustrate us so much that most of the Christmas was just on Main Street, and that outside of that, it wasn't decorated, but it is. And we are especially fond of Fantasyland as near Seven Dwarfs, where they have like wreaths and garlands with gems, like from the Seven Dwarfs, that are incorporated, as well as a whole Christmas tree. And it's just really, really cute. I'm so glad that they've extended it. They did it for the Halloween party as well. Let's talk about characters. It's a big draw of the Christmas party. The most popular characters, as I already mentioned, are Jack and Sally. And the strategy for them is either do what we did, which is right at the party beginning, or at the end. And because it's located at the front of the park, it's an easy flow. Either do it as soon as you get there or do it last thing before you leave. We just suggest not getting in line any later than 11:30 because sometimes they can cut that line off and you don't want to get stuck not being able to meet them. But they're always the most popular. But the other most popular characters are Mickey and Minnie, which also meet at Town Square Theater right next to Jack and Sally. You cannot meet them early in the way that you can Jack and Sally, but you can get in line at 6 and they start meeting at 7. I was at the front of that line, but I did have to wait an hour because I got in line at 6 o'clock. Another popular one is Pooh and Friends. You can get in line for them around 6:30 or 6, something like that. And then finally, it's Daisy, Donald, and Scrooge McDuck who are meeting back in Storybook Circus. They used to meet with Minnie, so there was 4 of them, but they moved Minnie up with Mickey, so now they've got the 3 that are back there. They are very popular. We have a character map that helps you to identify who is most popular, who's in a special outfit, and who is not exclusive to the party at all. And I really want people to know what's not exclusive, because if you have regular Magic Kingdom time, you might as well save your regular Magic Kingdom time for the regular characters. But during the party, there are exclusive things like exclusive pairings, such as princesses with their prince, or characters in special outfits, or characters you just cannot meet anywhere else. And so it'd be good if you're a character person to at least meet the ones that are not available any other time. And so I can link to our character map in the description so that you can help pick those out for your own party time. Let's talk about rides, because Disney has some official sort of ride overlays for the party that are different as soon as the party begins. That includes Space Mountain, which has red and green strobe lights as well as Christmas music playing. So during the Halloween party, Space Mountain is very, very dark, like darker than normal. So it's very spooky and extra scary. But during the Christmas party, Space Mountain is very fun and whimsical. So it's just like an upbeat, bright dance party or something. Jingle Cruise is considered a ride overlay, although it's the same as during regular Magic Kingdom time. So in the same way that I wouldn't want you to spend your time on characters that are not exclusive, I wouldn't want you to spend time on Jingle Cruise if you have regular Magic Kingdom time, because it's the same during the party and outside the party. Tomorrowland Speedway is all decorated for Christmas during the party, and Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor. So there's a lot going on over there in Tomorrowland. However, we want to add one to the list, which is the People Mover. We think this is honorable mention, but it's actually number 1 on our list because it gives you views of so many things, like the Tomorrowland Speedway lights, the castle views, brief views of Main Street, and you go through Space Mountain with the holiday overlay. So you see the strobe lights, you hear the music, you kind of get to participate in it, and it's just kind of a great sampling of some of the holiday overlays and holiday vibes. And so we always do People Mover, and there's not a line. Parade and fireworks are, of course, a big part of the draw of the Christmas party. We do suggest a second parade always during a Halloween and Christmas party. We just always suggest that you look at the forecast, because we would hate for a storm to come in during the second parade and you have skipped the first parade and now there's a storm and you don't get to see any parade. So if there's any weather on its way, then go to the first parade before you're affected, hypothetically. But if the weather is completely clear and you plan to stay until the party is over, second parade's always less busy. What we like to do is get a spot in the hub area that is on the curb, that is on the side where the Plaza restaurant is, or like if the hub is a clock and the castle is 12 o'clock, then I would say we sit somewhere around the 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock area. And the reason that I'm being so specific is because that both gives you a view of the fireworks and the projections, but the parade comes around that way. And so we would sit there and just watch the fireworks. You also get kind of a distant view of the stage show in front of the castle, and then the parade comes through. So we just end up sitting there. We do kind of come and go a little bit as we're waiting between shows. So you can go snag some drinks and snacks. I actually got up and went down Main Street and met Mary Poppins at the front of the park because she meets right next to guest relations. And it ended up being a great strategy because Main Street is cleared for the parade that's going to be coming. They don't want people just, hanging out in the street with the parade coming in the next, 20 minutes or whatever it is. But I was able to just walk down, meet Mary Potts, and come back. And took me 10 minutes. It was very, very easy. So that was a good plan. What else? Shopping, of course, there is always merch. We like to go to the Star Trader shop that's in Tomorrowland. The Main Street shops can be so busy because that's where most people go. But the same party merch is available in Star Traders over in Tomorrowland. So it's a little bit easier to get it there. So overall, we just absolutely love the Christmas party this year. And we were really able to do some of our work-related tasks that we wanted to get information about and photos of, but also just have fun. And so really a perfect combo for us. However, the fun was not over with that one because Jollywood Nights had its first party as well. We tend to recommend this one for adults or families with older kids, and the Christmas party for families with younger kids. They have they're both fun, but just in different ways. And this year we tried a new strategy, which is to combine characters or shows with snacks and drinks. And the reason that we thought this was really clever and it worked out well is that when you sit down to look at everything at Jollywood Nights, it can be hard to figure out how to fit it all in because there's a ton of food and drinks, and almost in the way that Epcot festivals have a lot of food and drinks, because they're like small portions and they're all over the place, but they also have a lot of characters and shows to see. And so how to fit it in 5 hours because it lasts from 7:30 to 12:30. So we decided to pair them. And the reason the pairing works in this case is that most of the lines for characters are outside. So it's very easy to come and go. It's very easy for someone to bring you a snack or a drink. And most of the shows, if not all of them, maybe all of them, allow you to bring in food and drinks. So this worked out really, really well for us. And I would highly suggest that if you're going and you want to plan your night out, that you identify which characters and shows you want to do, and then which snacks and drinks you want, and figure out the locations that you can kind of combine the two. It just makes it much easier. The new characters this year that we were able to meet or at least observe their location were Partysaurus Rex, which is at the entrance of Toy Story Land. This was the character we lined up for early before the party even began. So the park officially closes at 7 p.m. with the party starting at 7:30. And I think we lined up for Partysaurus Rex maybe around 6:45, something like that. But this line definitely is one of the longer ones because he's popular and new, and we were able to once again get a drink nearby, get a snack nearby, and then go meet him. We went to Galaxy's Edge where Chewbacca is meeting in a festive robe near the Millennium Falcon. It is not where the map showed in the app or the printed one. And this happened a lot this year where they were labeling characters in very strange ways. So we have our own version of it that gives you the correct information. But it's basically all the way on the edge of the Millennium Falcon. And that line ended up being very long. So if Chewbacca is a high priority, you might want to line up for that one early because that line really grows. Bing Bong meets near Baseline Tap House at that side of Galaxy's Edge, and that had a decent line, but we also were able to go get nearby snacks and drinks, including a spiked cold brew that was available at the Coca-Cola. I keep forgetting the name of it, but it's the Coca-Cola booth that is there. And finally was Miguel, which didn't have much of a line at all when we met him. He was kind of hard to find. The coaster courtyard area, which is what they call the area in the Rock and Roller Coaster space, he's kind of advertised as being in there, but he was just outside of there behind Fairfax Fair, the quick service location. But he is new this year and sort of adjacent to the coaster courtyard area. So those were the new ones, and we were able to enjoy them all. Lots more characters outside of these new ones, including Santa Duffy, and there's just a whole list. Like Jollywood Nights, one of the best things about it is the interesting characters. So it's a great option for people that like to meet characters, but it's just really hard to fit them all in, which is why we tried to devise this strategy. I can link to our Jollywood Nights guide in the description. So if you're going, you can look at the whole character list and sort of just define, which ones you want to meet, if any, and start to put together your own strategy. Outside of the characters, there are lots of great shows. The ones that we love are the Disney Holidays in Hollywood, which is what they call the Muppet Show that takes place on the Beauty and the Beast stage. Normally, Beauty and the Beast is there, but during the party, it's this Muppet Show. Also, The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is where Frozen Sing-Along typically takes place. And then the Twilight Soiree at the Tip Top Club takes place just outside of the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. These are all fantastic shows. We do like doing them towards the end of the night, though. They tend to be less busy, so we actually fit most of the shows in between 11 p.m. and 12:30, like in that 90-minute period, and that worked better, whereas the earlier in the night we did more like characters and food and stuff, although you can bring food to these as well. There is also a few other things that are sort of just worth seeing as you're walking through the area or dipping into. One of those is the Glisten Ice Skating Show, which takes place in front of the Chinese Theater. The Holiday Fiesta in La Calle, which is that coaster courtyard area in front of Rock and Roller Coaster. It's really a whole kind of Mexican themed area where they have live music and dancers. They had one of the Three Caballeros there. They have some of their like food and drinks is Mexican themed, and then Miguel's nearby. So it's kind of a Mexican area or themed section. And that's kind of fun to just dip into, dance, get some snacks and food and things like that. Also, just the Echo Lake area in general is really beautiful. Got the dinosaur with the lights and the water, and it makes great photo ops, and it's fun to just kind of walk through there. The Pixar Disco, which is what we saved till the very end. This takes place in that Pixar courtyard sort of space, and the fun part about it is that it includes characters including Frozone, Edna, and our favorite is Sadness. I want to figure out who the genius is who said, let's take Sadness and put her at a dance party, because she's so funny. She just does not do much. I made a reel about this, and as of the time I'm recording this, it has over 500,000 views. It is the funniest thing in the world, and we love it so much. So our reward for getting all the character and show information and snack information that we wanted was we got to go dance with Sadness, because we love it so much. So we love that one. And then the last one I want to mention that's worth dipping into or seeing as you go through is Sunset Season's Greetings, which is what Disney calls the Sunset Boulevard projections on the Tower of Terror and the lasers and the Snope. And this is something you can experience outside of the party as well, but it's supposed to be part of the party. But we just didn't see it much because it's not continuous like it is during the normal Hollywood Studios time. And so we were on Sunset Boulevard for at least an hour and a half and never once saw it. And in addition, they aren't starting it in the normal park hours until November 14th. So this is one of our favorite things in the whole world, because it's just so much fun to be there with the music and the Snope and the lasers and everything. But we literally are just not going to see it this year. It didn't happen while we were at the party in that area, and it's not starting in the regular park hours till November 14th. So very frustrating. But if you are going to the party, you can make time to see it. Hopefully you will see it, even though we did not. And if you're going to Hollywood Studios and not the party, you should have it once it gets dark, and it should be continuous throughout the evening starting November 14th. Okay, fireworks happen once per night. It's Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam. A lot of people will probably enjoy seeing this because Hollywood Studios doesn't have fireworks regularly. For those that don't know, Hollywood Studios used to have fireworks regularly all the time, including Star Wars fireworks, and they had Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam as a normal part of the park hours. And so anybody could see it if they were going this time of year, and now it's exclusive to Jollywood Nights. Outside of that, there's a few other things to do. One is shopping. So the shops are open, but the party exclusive merch is surprisingly limited. They have kind of a pop-up shop where they sell their merch, and it's located at the Shorts Theater, the Mickey Shorts Theater area. And it's kind of just a limited amount of things. Like they have some Ollie. Ollie is the gingerbread cookie who is themed, that he's like the mascot of the party or whatever. And they have lounge flies, they have some cups, and they have a few t-shirts. But it's a small space that feels very pop-up shop, temporary. And there are PhotoPass picks, lots of great PhotoPass picks options. And of course, the rides are open. So the rides don't have long lines at all during this event. And it's not a huge focus of it because there's so many characters and so many shows that most people don't do it. So that means that the rides themselves do not have long lines. But if you want to ride rides, you're going to be in luck because nobody else really is. Okay, so we've covered resorts and we covered the two parties. Let's briefly talk about some of our time at Epcot and Animal Kingdom because we did visit all 4 parks in different capacities. At Epcot, our main focus was to do the food and wine booths with the group. As we weren't doing anything new, but if you happen to want to do food and wine with a group, you might like the format that I use, which is I defined 4 seating spaces that could accommodate a large group, and we all just spent basically an hour in each one. So he said, stop number 1, here's where we're going to sit, and everybody go nearby to the booths and get whatever food and drinks they want. And then after, roughly an hour, let's go to the next space. We alternated between outdoor and indoor to keep everybody cool because this day was hot and also a little bit rainy at times. And then we ended up spending about 4 hours. So that was great. Food and Wine Festival is about to wind down and be over soon. But obviously that strategy would work at any festival if you're interested. That's what we did for our patron meetup this trip. And that worked really fun. We'll have to see if we decide to do it again for like Festival of the Arts. We might end up doing that. And then finally, Animal Kingdom, which we did because they had some new things going on with the Zootopia show and meeting Nick and Judy. And also we wanted to just do a little bit of touring. It is, as always, easy to do without lightning lanes, but we still recommend doing a lightning lane single pass for Flight of Passage, especially if you're not going to rope drop or you want to ride it twice. I personally prefer to rope drop Navi River Journey because I like a lower stress rope drop because I don't like going to the ride where everybody else is. It just feels like too much of a stampede to me. And then after Navi River Journey, I like to go to Kilimanjaro Safari. Expedition Everest has a single rider line if you are willing to use it, so it just feels kind of easy to do without lightning lanes. In addition to the rides, we did do the Zootopia show, which replaced the old It's Tough to Be a Bug show. If you ever went to that show, you know it terrified a lot of people, especially little kids. I don't know if I ever went to a showing of that where parents didn't leave with crying kids. The new show is much more fun and not so creepy. I don't think any kids left because they were scared. It's very, very cute. I did read some mixed feelings about it beforehand. I didn't watch any videos of it or footage. I just read some comments, but I thought it was really cute. And I think a lot of people are going to be happy with it. Not everything has to be Flight of Passage or something like that. It's just a cute show. We also did meet Nick and Judy, and they're located right next to the new Zootopia show. But we were surprised that they were doing an in-person wait list. So it's not a virtual queue in the app. It's not a walk-up or wait list that you can do in the app. It's just an in-person one. And I think it's because the queue that they have for this meet and greet doesn't hold more than 15, 20 people. It's just a very small queue. And so with a lot of interest for a new meet and greet, then they wanted to manage the crowd. So when we walked up thinking we were going to meet them, they said, what's your name and phone number? And gave us an estimate of 2 hours. We'll text you and let you know when to come back. They ended up texting us 1 hour later. And then once we came back, we were able to meet them within about 10 minutes. And I'm just thinking, wouldn't that be nice if they did that for every character meet? You could always leave and come back. I think that'd be great. But anyway, that's how it worked. And I don't know how long that's going to last, but I think it's just as long as it's popular and lots of people are there to meet them. But they are very, very cute. And we enjoyed both the show and the character meet. We did venture over into Dinoland, which has very heavy walls. I mean, very heavy walls. To get to Dinosaur and Restaurantosaurus, you're basically going through tunnels of walls. Over there, November 14th is going to keep coming up as a date. Over in the Dinoland area, that what remains of it, there will be a Santa meet starting November 14th. And also starting November 14th at Animal Kingdom is the Merry Menagerie Puppets, which we love and did not get to see this trip because they are delaying it for whatever reason by like a week. But if you're going to Animal Kingdom November 14th or later, make sure that you check them out because they're very, very cute. So overall, I had a good time at Animal Kingdom, and it was a little chilly on our particular day, but Animal Kingdom tends to go really, really hot. So I kind of like it when it's cooler. It's just, it was a big shock, big change to go from some kind of warmer days to a really chilly one. Anyway, so that kind of touches on all the parks in some different ways and all the different resort experiences. But I'll have the daily updates that I will be adding to the end of this. If you didn't catch them when they went up live, you can listen to them now. I think that'll wrap up this episode of WDW Prep to Go. For more information, including some of the links that I've mentioned, please check the show notes in your podcast app. Or head to the website, wdwprepschool.com. Click on podcast at the top. Scroll down to episode 487. Until next time, I will see you on the site.
Hello at 5:27 p.m. from Magic Kingdom. We are here for the first Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, and so far we are pleasantly surprised, even though it doesn't technically start till 7. So let's start back from last night. We landed at Orlando Airport, and as is the normal routine now, stayed at the MCO Hyatt. I did not get in until 2 a.m. because of flight delays, so I was glad that I didn't have much of a commute from the baggage claim up to the hotel room, so that was really nice. And then we slept in this morning as long as we could so that we could be rested up for the party tonight. We headed over to Pup Century where we could get our groceries delivered to our room because I had Kroger delivery this morning. And then we had some lunch at the food court before heading to Magic Kingdom. We got on the bus around 2:30 and lined up at the Tap Styles. I want to say we were maybe 10 people back at our particular Tap Style and just sort of sat there waiting. They let us go into Magic Kingdom a little bit early. I want to say a little bit before 4. Was it around 3:45 that they let us in Magic Kingdom? And then we hadn't planned on getting in line for Jack and Sally because it's such a time commitment and we've done it so many times, but we were so close to the front and we thought we might as well. And I'm really glad we did because it ended up being much, much better than in the past. So first of all, they started meeting at 4 o'clock, which is nice. In the past, they've started meeting a little bit later, so you would have to just stand in line and wait at least till 4:30. But not only did they start meeting, but it moved very quickly. And the reason for that is they have multiple rooms, if you know what I mean. So that makes it much, much more efficient. So we were done meeting Jack and Sally by 4:30. And then we went through the trail that goes behind Main Street, which is kind of a great entry point for both the Halloween parties and Christmas parties. And there's like a lot going on, which is super fun. It's a really fun way to kick off your time for the Christmas party. And it doesn't last for the whole night. It's only like, I think between 4 and 6:30, 4 and 7, something like that. And so you get to kind of go back there and there's entertainment. There's a DJ. You can pose for pictures with the gingerbread men. There's stilt walkers. There's Bubbles, or Snope and Bubbles. And they give you an ornament and snacks. So it's like a really fun way to kind of start. And then from there, it sort of deposits you near the Tomorrowland Terrace restaurant. And then we wanted to meander. We had some checklist things to do, like we wanted to go see the decorations and the different lands, because in the past only Main Street had decorations, and now they've started including them in other places, including Fantasyland, where the decorations are themed. Like at Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, the decorations have gems. So it's really, really cute. We went around to see where all the wristband stations are, because for the day guests who are already in the park, You don't have to go back to the front to get your party wristband. You can do it in different lands of the park. So in Adventureland, it is Tortuga Tavern. In Fantasyland, it's at PhilharMagic. And in Tomorrowland, it is near Buzz Lightyear. So we just wanted to check those stations out first, and we've kind of made our rounds. What we're getting ready to do now, because it's now 5:30, is we are going to go line up for some more characters that don't start meeting until closer to 6 to 7. And so that's what we are going to check out. We know what happened last year as far as some of the popular characters and the lines that started building, but we want to confirm how it's working this year. So I'll be back later to let you know how it goes, but so far so good. Hello at 9:45 p.m. from the hub area as we wait for the fireworks to begin. It's been about 4 hours since I last updated, and we've just been running around. This has been one of my favorite Christmas parties ever. I don't know if I've said that before, but I just tend to I love the Christmas party. And like, the weather is perfect. It's fun. I just love the vibes. It's not too busy. We've been able to do everything that we needed to do. We used to go to the first 2 Christmas parties so that we could get everything that we needed, and now we just do one, and it's just still doable and chill. So after my last update, I headed to the front of the park to Town Square Theater because I wanted to meet Mickey and Minnie. They're meeting together this year, whereas in the past it was just Mickey. And their line started at 6. I was probably the 10th person back, but they start meeting at 7 in Town Square Theater. And then it was very quick, obviously, but I had to wait for an hour. And then once it started, it was very quick. So they're really, really cute. I just really hate those automatic photo boxes that they use there. It doesn't, obviously with me, it's fine. I know to wait for it, but I sat and watched kids. They don't know. So that's annoying, but the characters are really, really cute. And then Heather went and met with Daisy, Donald, and Scrooge McDuck back in Storybook Circus because they used to meet with Minnie, and now it's just the 3 of them. So that's another similar strategy. Line up early, then they'll start meeting. So we did that. We are really enjoying how there's decorations throughout the park this year, except for Adventureland. And in Adventureland, there's Jungle Cruise that's decorated, but just the land itself isn't. But the whole park has decorations throughout, which is really lovely. We also did our favorite ride during the Christmas party, which is the People Mover, because it gives you such a great view of the Tomorrowland Speedway, which is decorated for Christmas. You get to see the castle. You can kind of see the decorations on Main Street for a little bit. And then inside of Space Mountain, which is a holiday version, you get to see the lights and the music. So it's just like a fun vibe. And now we are in our favorite spot, or near our favorite spot in the hub area, where we can see the fireworks. But then once the second parade starts, we'll have great views of it coming through with the castle in the background. And so we didn't have any trouble finding a spot. We just kind of rolled up 20 minutes, I think, before fireworks, maybe 30 minutes before fireworks. And it's been really nice. So anyway, really good party. And I think it's my favorite of the 2 parties. People always ask, Halloween or Christmas? This is it. And then after the parade, the Snope comes down on Main Street. So if you want to see that, make sure you're in the Main Street area because it's really fun. There's also Snope as you come in. If you go on the trail, the bypass that goes behind Main Street, that's where you can go and get your ornament, and they give you a treat. And they also have Snope coming down. You can pose with gingerbread men, all that stuff. So a couple of areas to see Snope if you want. But we like Main Street because it's nighttime and the castle and the decorations is so pretty. So anyway, I'll probably be back one more time before the party is over, but we're going to have a character map done by tomorrow that shows everywhere you can meet characters, and we label them by if they're party exclusive or if you can meet them anytime or if they're very popular and you need to line up early, et cetera, et cetera. So look for that content coming soon. Hello at 11:37 p.m. The music that you hear is the end of the parade. We just watched it from in front of the castle, and now the music is really loud still all the way down Main Street. But we are getting ready to leave. This was the most perfect Christmas party ever, and I just wish everyone could experience it exactly like this. Perfect level, the crowds, the weather, everything. It was just really, really, really good. So we had a really good spot in the hub area, and we have incredible pictures with the castle in the background. A lot of people want Main Street, which I totally understand too. But that one is a little bit more competitive. I feel like people stake out those spots a little bit earlier. But anyway, We are getting ready to head out. Hopefully the bus stops won't be too crowded as we head back to our resort. But we'll be back tomorrow night from Hollywood Studios for the very first Jollywood Nights. I'll be back in. Hello, it's 7:16 p.m. from Hollywood Studios. So we spent the day in the room working on content from the Christmas party last night. I will link to the Christmas party character map specifically. That's the thing that seems to be the most popular, because we take the party map and we add our own character information to it. Like, these are the most popular characters. These are characters that are the same characters you can meet anytime, et cetera, so that you can prioritize the characters. Also, their map this year, where they kind of label the characters, it's not correct. Like, we physically confirmed all the locations, and they weren't the ones that were on the map. So our map is a little bit more accurate, as well as having some additional information about which ones are worth meeting. But after that, we did take a little nap because we only slept for a few hours, and that way we could get ready for tonight with Jollywood Nights. So we're in line right now to meet our first character, which happens to be Party Source Rex, who is new this year. And I feel like maybe we've unlocked a fun combo, which is that all the character lines, or at least for the most popular characters, they are outside and also near places where you can get like drinks and snacks. And so we are doing kind of a crawl where we get in line for a popular character and then go nearby and get a drink and a snack. And that I'll update throughout the night as that goes. But right now it's Party Source Rex, and then we're going nearby and getting these spring rolls that are for sale. The buffalo chicken spring rolls that are part of the party. And we have some drinks that we got before we got in line. So that's our plan for tonight, is to kind of do that combo of character, snacks, drinks, as well as doing some of the shows that we know are really great because we've seen them before and we want to revisit. So anyway, it's a beautiful night again, and so we're excited to be here. It's our favorite park during the holidays, so we're happy to be back. I'll update you throughout the night to let you know how our new strategy goes. Hello at 8:19 p.m. I am in line to meet Bing Bong, who is over by Baseline Tap House, between Baseline Tap House and the entrance of Galaxy's Edge, that area. So we did line up for Party Source Rex. We had a little drink, little spring roll snack, and that party. That line took like 25 minutes, even though we were there early. And he's very cute, so that was really fun. Then we headed to Galaxy's Edge because Chewbacca is meeting there in a special robe. We didn't meet with him, but we saw him. You can just see him meeting if you want to see him. He's on the edge of the Millennium Falcon. It's different than the map. We're kind of a little bit frustrated because the map is not showing the exact locations for things that we would expect, which is why we put on information to clarify it. But Chewbacca's there in a special robe, and now I'm in line for Bing Bong, who at Disneyland is not super special because he's in the lobby of the Pixar Hotel. But here it is pretty special, so I'm excited. Heather ran to get us another drink and snack that is exclusive to the party, and so we're kind of liking this vibe. Outdoor lines, one person goes and gets a drink and a snack, and we kind of get to do everything all at once while going to all the different lay-ins and everything, so really loving it. So we're gonna just continue this for a while. I'll be back later. Hello at 10:14. So we just met the final character that we were trying to meet, Miguel, and we basically met one from every section of the park. Party Source Rex was at Toy Story Land, and then Chewbacca. We didn't meet Chewbacca, but we went and saw Chewbacca right by Millennium Falcon. Then we did meet Bing Bong, who is near Baseline Tap House, and that was really fun. And then we came over here for Miguel. This strategy is working out really wonderfully for us because we've been able to eat and drink and meet characters all night without any problem. We did just skip the fireworks, which are at 10 p.m. Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam. We've seen them a million times, and so we just decided to watch them from afar on Sunset Boulevard, and that was kind of nice just to see them from afar. The cast members are so new that they didn't even know what the fireworks were, and that's always interesting to me that they don't fill them in on the details, because they were like, what is going on over there, and we had to tell them. But anyway, it is just a fantastic night. The food and drinks we've had have been amazing. The character interactions have been great. The courtyard in front of Rock and Roller Coaster is all Mexico inspired. So it's like live music and food, and Miguel is just outside of that area. So all Mexico area. Heather asked if I felt at home. I do. And so that's been really fun. And we're expecting, now that the fireworks are over, that they're going to resume the Sunset Boulevard projections on Tower of Terror and the Snope and lasers and all that stuff that happens over here. And then we are going to concentrate on the shows for the last hour or so that the park is open. So this has been just incredible. Love it. I am so happy that they learned so much from the very first Jollywood Nights, which was not great. And we were here for that and very upset about it. But they've really spread out the crowds, offered a lot of good entertainment, and it just works. So this is really great, especially if you're adults or you have kids that are willing to stay out late, kind of thing. It's just fun. So anyway, having a great time, and we are going to now head into focusing on the shows, and I'm happy about it because they have some good ones. Okay, 12:23 p.m., my last update. If I sound out of breath, it's because I am. What you did with the dance party. If you've never been to a dance party with sadness, you haven't lived. It is very funny, and I want to hug the person who came up with that concept, but we saved it for the end. It's like a reward because we like it. Anyway, we did the shows. We did the Muppet Show. We did the Nightmare Before Christmas show. We stopped briefly by the merch shop, which is very small, and it's in the Mickey Shorts Theater, like that sort of area. And then the Glisten Show, which is ice skating in front of the Chinese theater. And then we went to that, so we kind of ended it with shows. And they're good. Most of them are very good. We didn't get to spend enough time on the Echo Lake area, which is so pretty. You can see that any night. And another thing that was difficult was that these sunset seasons, like continuous projections on Tower of Terror and the Snope and everything, we never once saw it. We asked the cast member what was going on, and they said it's kind of off and on, and it was never on when we were there, and it's not going to be part of the normal park until November 14th. So even if we came back tomorrow night, we wouldn't see it. So very strange. So I'm not sure why it wasn't running more. But other than that, loved it. So we are headed out, and that is the end of late night number 2. I'll be back tomorrow with a very different vibe because it's not a party day. Talk to you then. Hello, it's 12:57 p.m. from Epcot in the Morocco Florida Blue Lounge. We're doing a crawl today of the food booths at Food and Wine Festival with patrons. We normally just meet up at like a lounge space in a resort, but this time we were like, let's do something more fun and go do food booths. So we basically defined seating areas, and we said, this is stop number 1, go wherever you want to nearby, get food and drinks, and then we'll move on. So we have 4 different spots. This is one of them, and you may recall me talking about this on the last trip, but for this festival, and I don't know how it's going to work on future festivals, but you go on the Florida Blue website, and they have a graphic basically that you save to your phone, and it gets you in here for free. When we were entering at noon, which is when they open, they were giving out wristbands that allowed you to reserve seating for the concert tonight, and tonight it happens to be Jordan Sparks, so whoever in our group wants to go to that can do that for free. It's a limited number of wristbands, which is why a lot of people get here right when it opens. But once you're inside, it's seating, it's air conditioning, there's water, tea, coffee, there's crafts, and also they're letting us come and go with stuff from a nearby food booth, so it's great. It's been raining off and on, so it feels good that at least for now we're out of the rain and the heat, and so we're just kind of sitting around. We have a group of about 12 people, I think, something like that, and so it's a fun way to do it. So I don't know if the advice is too specific, but if anybody ever wants to do a crawl with a friend group, I think it's the easiest way to do it is just to define the seating areas and then just let everybody go and get whatever they want nearby. We have a couple more stops we're going to do after this and just kind of eat and drink our way through it. So it's kind of fun and a totally different vibe than the Christmas parties from the last 2 nights, but it's a good day. It's getting ready to get kind of cold in Florida, so I'm glad that the last warm day is today before, because having coats on while doing this is going to be a little bit different vibe. We are keeping an eye on our flights. I think our flights are safe. We fly home Tuesday, but we've been keeping an eye on those to make sure they aren't canceled, because if they are canceled, obviously we need to figure out alternative plans. But I think our flights are safe, at least for now. So anyway, that is where we're at right now. I'll be back later. We're at 2:54 p.m. from the Odyssey building. This is the last stop that we had identified. I can't remember if I said the exact stops earlier, but the first one was the outdoor seating area near Bramblewood Bites. We call that area Alliteration Alley because there's so many booths in a row that all have alliterative names. And then after about an hour there, we moved to the lounge where I updated last time in Morocco, and then we went to the outdoor seating area in the Germany pavilion. And then now we are ending in the Odyssey building, which is indoor. So we alternated between indoor and outdoor with big seating areas for a group of about 12 people. So it was really good. And this is a really fun way to do a festival where everybody gets to kind of get as much or as little food and drinks as they want. It has rained a little bit off and on, and it's pretty humid. But other than that, it's been a really, really fun day. So this is a fun change up after having a couple of late nights in the parks doing holiday things. But this is towards the end of the festival, so I'm glad we could fit it in while it is still available. That is it for now. Hello at 5:40 p.m. This last update is from our hotel room. We decided to come back. The Skyliner went down because the rain and there was like some, spotted, scattered showers. That's the word I was looking for. And so during the day at Epcot today, we would randomly be rained on and then it would go away. And then right when we were trying to board the Skyliner, it stopped because there was lightning in the area. So we grabbed an Uber from the beach club and came back to our resort. And that's it. I only got 4 hours of sleep last night. Late nights are catching up to us. But tomorrow morning is a very early morning because we're doing a traditional park touring day at Animal Kingdom. We try to do these every once in a while because even though this trip is very holiday party focused, we want to try to keep up with how the park touring is working in the parks. And last time we did it, I think last trip we did Magic Kingdom. This time we did Epcot, and this time we're doing Animal Kingdom. So we're just fitting it in on this last day. It's going to be a little bit cooler temps tomorrow. Tuesday's when it gets really cold, but I fly home that day. But tomorrow morning, I think we're going to have to throw on a hoodie at least. So we are wrapping it up early, getting all of our showers and work kind of stuff done. And that way we can be in bed at a decent time because last night was 2 a.m. And we can't be doing that again. So this is my last update for today, but I will talk to you tomorrow from Animal Kingdom. Hello at 8:05 a.m. from Animal Kingdom, from a very chilly Animal Kingdom. The temperatures have dropped 13 degrees since I got up this morning, and that hasn't been very long ago. I think we got up 2 hours ago, and it was 70 degrees, and now it's 57. So tomorrow it's going to be 37 degrees in the morning. So temps are on their way to very cold. There are lots of people here without jackets on. Most people have jackets on, but there's a lot of people that seems to have not looked at the forecast, and they're shivering. It is chilly. But anyway, we, of course, did rope drop this morning. So we were, 8 o'clock normal opening today, 7:30 early entry. So we were at the bus stop by 6:15 this morning. And the first bus came at 6:30. So that's an hour before early entry. We usually tell people 60 to 90 minutes before, and that seemed to have worked this morning. There were, at one time at our resort, there were 3 buses to Animal Kingdom. It was bananas. Happy for the people for going to Magic Kingdom, but we had to wait a little bit longer than they did. And so we got here, and they opened security at 7. They let us through the tap stalls at 7:15, and then most people head to Pandora. I do not like rope dropping the most popular ride because it gives me anxiety, too much of a rush. So I went to Navi River Journey and walked right on, easy peasy. And then we headed to Creature Comforts, aka Starbucks, because it's cold and we wanted hot coffee. We rarely get hot coffee when we're here because it's usually hot, so we get a cold brew. But today it was a good day to get hot coffee. So we're just sitting in front right now having our loaf of bread and our hot coffee. And we are headed to Kilimanjaro Safari next. We also have a priority to go see the Zootopia show and that kind of thing. So probably been spending the morning here. But just kind of seeing how things are going. We've been able to go to all the parks, a different one each day. So this is our last one. I'll be back later. 11:27 a.m. So we went on Kilimanjaro Safari right after 10 minutes after the park opened, I think, 8:10. And we happened to have a lighting lane for it, so we got right on. But the standby line was moving pretty quickly, so I'm sure the people there didn't have too long of a wait. But it's a chilly morning. It's dropped 13 degrees since I got up this morning. There's a bit of a wind, so the safari was a little bit chilly, but the animals were really active. So we had a good guide, driver, and the animals were out, including cheetahs, lions, giraffes, zebras, all of it. So that was really good. And then we went and watched the new Zootopia show, our first time seeing it, and it's really cute. And if you guys saw that It's Tough to Be a Bug show back when that existed in that space, a lot of times kids would leave because it was too scary and spooky, and this one is more fun. It definitely has some 4D effects, including the creepy crawly parts of it, but not in a way that is scary. It makes kids cry. So it's really cute, and really like that. Right next to it is where you can meet Nick and Judy, but right now it is so popular that they're using a wait list. So right before we went into the Zootopia show, we saw that they had a character return, and so we were like, well, let's go check out what they're doing there, because it's not a wait list or a virtual queue that you can join in the app. It's just something you have to do in person. And I think it's because the queue there is so small that they really can't accommodate much of a line, and so they have to do a wait list, and they take your name and they text you when it's your time. And at 8:45 they told us the return time would probably be about 2 hours. So just to give you an idea, if you're coming anytime soon, they may be doing a wait list while it is still popular. Another thing is the Merry Menagerie, which is one of Animal Kingdom's things that they do for the holidays. They're like these beautiful puppets that just appear in the park. We have seen them every single year because we're here every single year this time, and they are not starting until November 14th. And at Hollywood Studios, we ran into the same thing, which is the Sunset Seasons Greetings isn't starting until November 14th as part of the regular everyday park entertainment. Very frustrating to us. We have literally seen them every year, and they are delaying them by a week or so compared to the past, and I just don't get it. When everything you see around you is Christmas, and there's just this one thing in each park that's being held back, I don't get it. So anyway, Merry Menagerie is not here, unfortunately, and that's been one of our big draws for the holidays, the Animal Kingdom, because we like seeing them. But the decorations are up, and it's really beautiful, so that's a good part. So anyway, we are hanging out here and kind of just waiting for our return for Nick and Judy, and we'll see what else we can do before we head out. It's 9:59 a.m. This is pretty quick after my last update, but that's because the 2-hour return time for Nick and Judy ended up being only 1 hour, which is right after my last update. So right after I recorded, we got the text alert that we could come and get in line for Nick and Judy. And then once we were there, it was like 10 minutes. So the actual line, once you join it, is really short. And they are super cute because I don't remember being able to meet them both here together. And they're a really adorable duo. So that worked out really well. And then we decided to come back to Dinoland just to kind of see the walls and the construction and everything. It is really a lot. You might even be able to hear the construction in the background because we are seated right next to Restaurantosaurus, which is open, but it is one of the only things. You have to go through a whole bunch of walls to get back here to the dinosaur Restaurantosaurus area. I told you earlier the Merry Menagerie thing doesn't start till November 14th, and so does Meeting Santa. That's another thing we've always been able to do when we were here, and now it's, for some reason, they're delaying everything to November 14th. So he will meet back here in this Dinoland area, but he's not here right now. The only people back here really are people that want to meet. There's a character, I can't remember which one, it's one of the ducks that is right by Restaurantosaurus, as well as riding dinosaur while it's still open. But I'm excited for this whole new land to open. It's just right now, as always, when the parks are under construction, it's really disappointing to have to see the walls. But eventually it'll be a nice place to visit, obviously. So anyway, that is that from Nick and Judy and our kind of walking around Dinoland. I'll be back a little later. Hello at 11:55 a.m. as we are about to exit Animal Kingdom. It's been about 2 hours since my last update. We left the Dinoland construction zone and headed to toward Flight of Passage, but on the way we stopped in front of the Tree of Life because not feathered prince in flight, that's not the name. It's the birds that fly in front of the Tree of Life. I can't remember. Macaws, and just kind of watched the birds come through there. And then we headed to Flight of Passage. I did place a mobile order en route so that we could eat at Satuli Canteen. And I placed it so that the return time was about 30 minutes out. So we went on Flight of Passage, and the Lightning Lane, of course, saved a lot of time there. And I got to sit next to our first timer, which is the best. If you've been a million times, that is the next best thing, I think. And then as we were exiting there, I hit, I'm here, prepare my order. We love Satuli Canteen. We just hadn't been in a little while, and it wasn't very busy. So that was convenient, and it was delicious. We each had bowls that were different proteins and had the boba in it and all that, but it was really, really good. And now we are headed out of the park. We are going to Grand Floridian because today is the official opening of the new Perch Lounge in the lobby. We aren't quite sure what the operating hours are, but we're hoping it is open now, and we're gonna go find out. Hello at 2:47 p.m. from Steakhouse 71 Lounge. So we went to the Grand Floridian because we wanted to do the new Perch Lounge that just opened in the lobby. It's been soft open the last day or two, but today is the official opening. And we went there, and it's really a beautiful sort of birdcage looking structure that is in the lobby there. But you don't have to be at that bar because there's not very many seats at the actual bar, but you can be anywhere in the lobby and order because they have servers walking around everywhere serving from the menu. And so we sat there and had a drink each, and that was lovely. We many times sat in the lounge, or not the lounge, but the lobby of the Grand Floridian, and just enjoyed the atmosphere. And so it's nice that we can do it and then order a glass of rosé or whatever now. So that's a nice option, and I'm really glad that they really do come around the whole lobby frequently asking if you need anything. So from there we took the monorail over to here, Steakhouse 71 Lounge, because we decided we want a little something to eat, and they have the perfect menu here because they have like crab cakes, loaded mac and cheese, onion rings, wings, French onion soup, etc., regular seasonal soup, and then drinks. So we each got a drink, and we ordered loaded mac and cheese and onion rings to share, and that's like the perfect meal for us. And if you are not traveling with children, these lounge spaces are really great. And if you're not a drinker, they have mocktails as well. And these are great adult spaces, and also very, very delicious food. So this has been really good. So from here, we're going to go back to the resort and take a little break and get some work done as well. So I'll be back at least one more time today. Okay, 7:47 p.m. from Pop Century. This is my last update for this trip. We just went to do the luggage transfer program here. If you're not familiar, the Value Resorts have a system right now where if you're flying Southwest, you can check your bags at your resort instead of at the airport. So we went to do that because we both have very early flights, and you can do it the night before when your flight's really early. If it's the same day, you can check in the same day as long as it's enough hours ahead of time. We went down there, and I cannot do it because my flight's international. But Heather got hers checked. They do have a luggage scale, though. So even if you're not using the program, you can use the scale. And mine weighed in at 49.8 pounds. So I'm glad I at least know that. So anyway, that is so she doesn't have to worry about her bag in the morning, but I will because of the international flight. So take advantage of that. If you happen to be to Value and happen to be flying Southwest, it could save you a little bit of time. Our favorite use of it is to check our bags at the resort and then go somewhere like Disney Springs and then go to the airport directly from Disney Springs before the flight. That's what we used to do in the olden days when they had a bigger version of this program, and we really, really liked it. So we're hoping they'll bring it back in a broader capacity, the same way that they did before. They seem to be bringing back some of our favorite things, so that's a good. All right, so that is it. We have to get to bed because we'll have like a 3 or 4 a.m. alarm, and that wraps up this trip.